What's going on, everyone? Chris Mack coming at you today with the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Power Girl. I'm so happy to finally have this member of the Justice Society in my collection. If you guys want to pick her up, as I always say, first and foremost, support your local comic shop or wherever is going to get your action figures and comics and see if they have her in stock. If not, at the time of this recording, unfortunately, the conventional routes where you can pick her up, sold out. However, I do see that she is on eBay and Amazon. The price has kind of gone up, so fingers crossed that you guys get a good deal on her. And she looks great in the packaging. Power Girl name there. Old school DC Multiverse there. McFarlane Collector's Edition. Love that sheen, even though it's hard to kind of see in the light. Just has that really cool lithograph look to it. Nothing on the top there. Side window, of course, has that cool sheen, which I appreciate. Love the artist rendition here. If you guys know who this artist is, please let me know, because that is a beautiful piece of Kara Zor-L there. On the side, again, cool reflectant. Name, and this is from Reborn, which, it makes sense to be Rebirth. Number 31. Nothing really on the bottom. So, with that said, is she worth a flip once we get her out of the packaging? Let's crack it open and get a closer look. Power Girl, Kara Zor-L, Karen Starr, was created by Jerry Conway, Rick Estrada, and Wally Woodward. She first appeared in All-Star Comics issue 58 from February 1976. Power Girl is the counterpart of Supergirl and first cousin to Kal-El Superman. However, she hails from the alternate Earth 2 universe, which was first envisioned as the home of DC's Golden Age wartime heroes, published in the 40s as a member of the Justice Society of America. Like her cousin, being a native of Krypton, she has great strength, speed, flight, and invulnerability due to Earth's yellow sun. After discovering Krypton was about to explode, Kara's father, Zor-El, launched her as an infant to Earth in a ship at the same time that Kal-El's ship was launched. Kara's ship took a much longer journey, resulting in her arriving on Earth decades after her cousin. Her cousin Clark and his wife Lois provided her with a family environment that aided her adapting to life on Earth, and following the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths, Kara's background was retconned with Earth 2 no longer existing. She became a magic-based character with ties to ancient Atlantis, and was also a featured member of Justice League Europe. Now, we have done a deep dive on her over on the After Dark channel, so if you want to know more about her backstory, make sure to go check out that video after the review. Now, before we get into all the accessories, let's do a quick backstory on Stinky the cat, since he's kind of become a predominant member with Power Girl. Stinky has sometimes been referred to as simply the cat, although Guy, Wally, Theodore, or Streaky have been considered until Paddle Girl settled on Stinky. He was created by Keith Giffen and J.M. Diamatis, first appeared in Justice League America issue 37 from April 1990. Stinky was first discovered inside of a garbage can that Guy Gardner accidentally brought back inside the Justice League headquarters. After scaring Fire, the animal comes to blows with Guy himself and left a lasting impression on him. After Justice League International disbanded, the cat basically took up residence in Power Girl's headquarters at JSA headquarters. So that's kind of the whole backstory that I wanted to really dive into on Stinky. If you want a deep dive, let us know and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, this is one of the accessories that Power Girls comes with, and I'm glad that they gave them a cloth cape and not a stupid hard plastic one. I'm glad that those are finally starting to see the way of the dodo in terms of McFarlane action figures. The S on there looks awesome. Oh, look, a fly. Goodbye, fly. And there's the green eyes look great. The brown. Love the streaks on the body. That looks neat. I just kind of wish his arms and legs articulated a little bit, but still a welcome addition to the action figure. And of course, like all figures, she comes with a regular DC stand, which I'm a little disappointed that we're not really seeing the flight stands anymore. I don't know why they stopped producing those. It's kind of disappointing. Now, speaking of disappointing, Kara doesn't really come with any accessories, so to speak. She kind of comes with just hands and Stinky. That's the only other big accessory. She has open hands. She has kind of gripping hands. And, of course, You got to have the kapow hands, since this is essentially a Superman type character. So good stuff there. The last thing she does come with is the trading card, which looks absolutely beautiful. I'm glad that they stopped doing the toy photography. It just was not the right vibe for these, but this one looks absolutely amazing. So I'll make sure you get the front and the back so you can check out the card at your convenience. Now, as for the paint apps, this is the Power Girl that I've known. I know that her design has changed over the years, and I also know about the Chase figure that has the coat. But to me, and all the iterations of Power Girl that I read growing up through the 80s, 90s, this was the style of Kara Zor-El that we've always known. Has the open window, obviously, the short blonde hair, the gold shoulder cape, which looks really cool, the red belt, and the cool boots. And I love the gold little pegs on there. Looks good. The only real major bitch I have in terms of design on this figure, and don't get me wrong, one thing that I will say real quick before we get into it, I'm glad that McFarlane, I know that we still have the ball joints, but we don't have those big, nasty, fat ball ones. Like I went back and looked at the Suicide Harley and then the Injustice Dr. Fate. Oh my God, those were ugly. And I'm glad that they've really scaled those down and they're not as predominant. So I'm very thankful for that. But what irks my Gurk, they gave her tiny feet, skinny feet, and it is a bitch to pose her because of the McFarlane skinny feet. Like there she goes down on the floor. A lot of people have told me that that's been kind of a flaw in McFarlane's figures, and I'm starting to see it. And so, you know, if he keeps the license, I know that the whole thing with Mattel is supposed to happen. Was it 2026? We'll see. But yeah, come on with the feet, man. Ugh. But nonetheless, I'm glad that they gave her the cool boot stompers. That looks great. Gloves look epic. And I kind of wish it would have been a nice addition now. Don't get me wrong. The short bendy wire cape was definitely a needed part of this figure. That's why I'm looking. I want to get the new Dr. Fate that's come out and the new Shazam, but I have not seen them anywhere. So if you guys know where I can get my hands on those, please let me know, because the versions that I have right now, I'm not super duper happy with. With that said, I'm glad that's kind of a loose plastic that can move around, so it doesn't really hinder the articulation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I just kind of wish that this was cloth instead of plastic. But cloth does have a tendency to break, so the soft plastic I'm thankful for. Just be careful when you're articulating your figure. The face sculpt looks great. Love how they just kind of have those eyebrows going down. The blue eyes look great. Red lipstick. The soft skin tones just match all around. White looks good. Legs look good. Paint apps all around look absolutely amazing. Now, as for the articulation, it's not bad either. I'm relatively happy. But just like with all McFarlane figures, make sure to warm this up. So again, like with all of them when I pull them out, I don't know if it's because the paint gets into the joints or whatever, but they are so tight. I had to warm her up for a good long while so the head can go down that far. And the short hair, you can at least get her to look up that much. And a lot of play this way, so you're going to get a good range of motion on the head. Going back to the shoulder thing, because it's soft, you can move her arm all the way 360s, which is awesome. Has that relatively nice butterfly joint, so you get a good range of motion all the way around. And of course, the upper bicep swivel. There it is, double jointed elbows, and you can see they're still kind of tight. And then the ball joint, again, I'm glad that they don't look as ugly as they used to, so you can get a good range there and spinning it around. And again, and this is one thing I wish Hasbro would pay attention to, is how they can, well, oh shit, I thought this one had it. It doesn't. Because some of the figures can do here and here. She's just at the waist, so you can go down that much there, that far back, and you get a good range there. I just kind of wish that you could have had a pivot here so that when you're trying to do a fly, you can do the abdomen and then get the chest to go up further. That would have been nice, but it is what it is. The only maybe aesthetic that irks my Gurk is see how this is kind of raised up off her, and I get it that they need it for the cape, but it looks like the figure is broken, but it's not, I assure you. That freaked me out when I saw that. Anyway, legs that far. out that far. Thankfully, they don't suffer from the butt flap like McFarlane. Hasbro, double jointed knees, out that far. And you get a pretty good range of motion on the leg as long as you warm it up. And one thing I like about McFarlane too is like, and I don't know if, because I haven't had this problem with Hasbro yet, but one of the figures, I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but it popped out. And I was like, oh shit. And I warmed up again and snapped it back in and we were good to go. So I'm glad that Todd at least gives us that so we don't have to worry too much about breaking our figures. The foot, ugly, skinny foot. It irks my girk. I'm trying to let it go. I really am, guys. Up, down. And unfortunately, oddly enough, no toe pivot. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's frustrating. But still, you get a good range of motion. But that toe pivot, I think, would have really helped in terms of keeping her up because, as you can see, she knows stand up so well. But other than that, gorgeous figure. And I couldn't be happier to have this version of Kara Zor-L in my collection. Now here's Kara next to some of her Justice League International teammates. I don't have any of my JSA unboxed or else I would have done that, which would have been good, but it is what it is. You guys get it. Here is the McFarlane Toys. I think this was a gold label at the time. Shazam, which I want the cloth cover one. If you guys know where I can grab the cloth, I almost came out horribly, cloth covered version, let me know because that fat cake sucks. Same with the new version of Dr. Fate. I want that one, but both of these have eluded me, so these are the older ones. This is the... I think that's the Injustice. No. Yeah, the Injustice God video game version. This is the... I think this was also a gold label, Martian Manhunter, because I couldn't stand the new 52 look design that they gave for that one. The gold label, Detective Comics 27 Batman. The 2-pack of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. And this, I believe, is the Platinum or Silver edition Guy Gardner. When I ordered it, I thought I was getting the Green Lantern version, and I opened this one, and I was like, well, as much as I want to finish up my Green Lantern, that was the Guy Gardner that I knew from the 90s. And then, of course, Power Girl right there. Putting them together like this, they look great. But one thing that I'm noticing that you would think that when you are creating new figures with pre-established sets, that you would kind of put them together. I mean, I know Tara, I'm thinking Teen Titans. Kara's kind of tall, but I mean, look at the way she just towers both over Guy and Batman. And then look at John's over here. Like, what were they thinking? I mean, he looks beautiful, don't get me wrong, and we'll be going over it. But, like, he barely has any neck, and, like, he just disappears into his collar. He's so flippin' tiny, and she just dominates the head count. But I'm going to let it pass because it is an excellent figure, and I love that they released an Earth 2 version of Supergirl. Speaking of, we have gone over her whole origin. Over on the Dark channel, on the After Dark channel, check out the deep dive. I'll make sure to leave a card somewhere here so you guys can get it more in depth, as we talked about earlier, of Kara Zor-L. So, which Justice League International, Justice League, Justice Society action figures do you guys dig? I love that Hal, not enough coffee. Guy here was kind of given, in a sense, the head up of Justice League International, and how him and Batman in that series just butted heads. I want to go through that series so bad. I got to find them first. Now, are you guys going to pose these on a shelf? Are you going to do action figure photography? Let us know. We'd love to see your photos. Hit us up and post them over on the socials. This is an excellent rendition of Power Girl. I know that there's been different iterations of her, but this is the one that she's mostly associated with whenever you think of Power Girl in the more modern DC comic era. So if you guys can find this figure, highly, highly recommend it. The paint apps are great. The only thing, and we talked about this, that drives my up the wall and irks my girk are the tiny feet. I don't know what the hell McFarlane Toys was thinking in that regards. And the scaling's a little bit off, as we saw a moment ago. But still, this screams Justice Society, Justice League International, Justice League Kara Zor-L. So guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, this is definitely a Superman era figure that you want in your collection. So if you've enjoyed it, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever they're going to get your action figures and comics and grab this figure, or the places that we talked about at the beginning of the review. Speaking of, if you did enjoy this review, really would appreciate if taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little super bell next to subscribe, that way I get to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading. Photo slideshow coming up next, and happy hunting, everyone.